Hello, my name is Jiso, and I'm reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō. We're in the middle of Gyobutsu-Yuigi, which means the dignified behaviour of acting Buddha. We're about halfway through the longest paragraph I've seen in a while, paragraph 122. Still has some way to go, and Gyobutsu-Yuigi has some way to go. I don't think we're going to finish it today. And we're still in sunny Copenhagen. It's been a beautiful day. You can see the sky's clear behind me. Lots of sun, cool, but beautiful time. So, it is beyond the state of original existence. It's not only the concrete affirmation of reality as it is nothing other than the acting Buddha of dignified behaviour. That's right. This being so, the real state of working for Dharma and working for the body can be left at the mercy of the mind, and the dignified behaviour which gets rid of life and gets rid of death is utterly entrusted for the present to Buddha. Therefore we have the expressions, the myriad dharmas are only the mind, and the triple world is only the mind. When we express the truth in a further ascendant state, there is an expression of the truth by only the mind itself, namely fences, walls, tiles, and pebbles. It is because mind is not only the mind that fences, wall, tiles, and pebbles are not fences, wall, tiles, and pebbles. Such are the truths of entrustment to the mind and entrustment to the Dharma, and of working for the Dharma and working for the body, which are the dignified behaviour of acting Buddha. It is beyond the orbit of initiated enlightenment, original enlightenment, and so on. How much less could it be in the orbit of non-Buddhists, the two vehicles, and bodhisattvas in the 3 clever and 10 sacred stages? This dignified behaviour is simply the not understanding of every individual and is not understanding in every instance. Even the state of vigorous activity is also a situation as it is moment by moment. Is it the single track of iron, or is it 2 parts moving? The single track of iron is beyond long and short, and the 2 parts moving are beyond self and others. When we realise the effort, which is the energy of this real state of making things progress and throwing ourselves into the moment, then dignity covers the myriad dharmas, and the I is as high as the whole civilization. There is brightness that does not interfere with reining in and letting go. It is the monk's hall, the Buddha hall, the kitchen, and the 3 gates. There is brightness that is utterly beyond letting go and reining in. It is the monk's hall, the Buddha hall, the kitchen, and the 3 gates. Further, there are eyes that permeate in the 10 directions, and there are eyes that totally take in the earth. There is the moment before the mind, and there is the moment after the mind. Because such brightness and virtue in eyes, ears, tongue, nose, body, and mind is burning, there are the Buddhas of the 3 times who have maintained and relied upon the state of being not known. And there are cats and white oxen which have thrown themselves into the moment of being known to exist. When this ring in the nose is present and this eye is present, the Dharma preaches acting Buddha and the Dharma sanctions acting Buddha. Great Master Shinkaku of Seppozan Mountain preaches to the assembly, the Buddhas of the 3 times are inside the flame of the fire, turning the great wheel of Dharma. Great Master Shuitsu of Gensa-in Temple says, the flame is preaching Dharma for the Buddhas of the 3 times, and the Buddhas of the 3 times are standing on the ground to listen. Zen Master Engo says, Seppo deserves to be called the White Baron, but also present is the Black Baroness. Reciprocally, they throw themselves into the moment, gods appear and demons vanish. Blazing flame covers the cosmos. Buddha preaches Dharma. The cosmos is in blazing flame. Dharma preaches Buddha. Ahead of the wind, nests of arrowroot and wisteria have been cut away. With one word, Vimalakirti has been tested and defeated. The present Buddhas of the three times means all the Buddhas. Acting Buddha is just the Buddhas of the three times themselves. Among the Buddhas of the 10 directions, there is none who is not of the three times. When the Buddha's truth preaches the three times, it preaches them wholly like this. Now, when we research acting Buddha, it is just the Buddhas of the three times themselves. Whether its existence is known or whether its existence is not known, it is always acting Buddha as the Buddhas of the three times. Even so, the three olden Buddhas, while expressing the truth of the Buddhas of the three times in like fashion, have the individual expressions described above. For instance, Seppo says, the Buddhas of the three times are inside the flame, turning the great wheel of Dharma, and we should learn this truth. Every place of practicing truth in which the Buddhas of the three times turn the wheel of the Dharma might be inside the flame, the inside of flame. And every inside of flame might be a Buddha's place of practicing truth. Teachers of sutras and teachers of commentaries cannot hear this, and non-Buddhists and the two vehicles cannot know it. Remember, the flame of Buddhas can never be the flame of other sorts. Indeed, we should reflect upon whether or not other sorts have flames at all. We should learn the teaching conventions employed by the Buddhas of the three times while they are inside flame. When they are located inside flame, are flame and the Buddhas cemented together? Are they drifting apart? Are object and subject oneness? Do object and subject exist? Are object and subject the same situation? Are object and subject equally far removed? Turning the great wheel of Dharma may include turning the self and turning the moment. It is making things progress and throwing oneself into the moment. It may include turning the Dharma and the Dharma turning. The turning the wheel of Dharma, which Seppo has already expressed, even if the whole earth is totally in flame, may include turning the wheel of Dharma, which is the wheel of fire, may include turning the wheel of Dharma, which is the Buddhas, may include turning the wheel of Dharma, which is the wheel of Dharma, and may include turning the wheel of Dharma, which is the great three times, which is just the three times, sorry, no great there. In sum, flame is the great place of practice in which the Buddhas turn the great wheel of Dharma. To fathom this state by spatial thinking, temporal thinking, human thinking, the thinking of the common and the sacred, and so on, does not hit the target. Because this state is not fathomed by such thinking, it is just the Buddhas of the three times being inside flame and turning the great wheel of Dharma. The Buddhas of the three times which Seppo has already expressed have gone beyond thinking, because the Buddhas of the three times are places of practice for the turning of the Dharma wheel. Flame exists. Say that again. Because the Buddhas of the three times are places of practice for the turning of the Dharma wheel, flame exists. Because flame exists, the Buddha's place of practice exists. The Buddha's places of practice exist. Gensar says, the flame is preaching Dharma for the Buddhas of the three times, and the Buddhas of the three times are standing on the ground to listen to the Dharma. Hearing these words, some might say that Gensar's words are a fitter expression of the truth than Seppo's words. It is not necessarily so. Remember, the words of Seppo and the words of Gensar are separate. That is to say, Seppo is speaking of the concrete place where the Buddhas of the three times are turning the great wheel of Dharma, and Gensar is speaking of the Buddhas of the three times listening to the Dharma. Whereas Seppo's words express the very turning of the Dharma itself, the existence at a concrete place of turning the Dharma does not necessarily call into discussion listening to the Dharma or not listening to the Dharma. Thus, we cannot hear Seppo say that in turning of the Dharma there must always be listening to the Dharma. Further, there may be import in Seppo not saying that the Buddhas of the three times are preaching Dharma for the flame, not saying that the Buddhas of the three times are turning the great wheel of Dharma for the Dharma, for the Buddhas of the three times, and not saying that the flame is turning the great wheel of Dharma for the flame. Is there any difference between saying turning the Dharma wheel and saying turning the great wheel of Dharma? Turning the wheel of Dharma is beyond preaching Dharma. Must preaching Dharma necessarily be done for others? Thus, Seppo's words are not words that fail to express fully the words that he meant to express. We must learn in practice, and always in complete detail, Seppo's words existing inside the flame, turning the great wheel of Dharma. Do not confuse them with Gensar's words. To penetrate Seppo's words is to dignify and to behave with the dignified behaviour of Buddha. The flame's accommodation of the Buddhas of the three times is beyond only the permeation of one limitless Dharma world or two limitless Dharma worlds, and it is beyond only the penetration of one atom or two atoms. For a measure of the turning of the great wheel of Dharma, do not look to measures of the large, small, wide and narrow. The turning of the great wheel of Dharma is not for self or for others, and is not for preaching or for listening. Gensar's expression is, the flame is preaching Dharma for the Buddhas of the three times, and the Buddhas of the three times are standing on the ground to listen. Thus, although it says that the flame is preaching Dharma for the Buddhas of the three times, never says that the flame is turning the wheel of Dharma, neither does it say that the Buddhas of the three times are turning the wheel of Dharma. The Buddhas of the three times are standing on the ground to listen. And how could Gensar's flame turn the Buddhas of the three times wheel of Dharma? Does the flame, which is preaching Dharma for the Buddhas of the three times, also turn the great wheel of Dharma, or does it not? Gensar never says, turning of the wheel of Dharma is this moment. Neither does he deny the existence of turning of the wheel of Dharma. But I wonder whether Gensar has stupidly understood turning the wheel of Dharma to mean preaching about the wheel of Dharma. If so, he is blind to Seppo's words. He has recognized that when the flame is preaching Dharma for the Buddhas of the three times, the Buddhas of the three times are standing on the ground and listening to the Dharma. But he does not know that where the flame is turning the wheel of Dharma, there the flame is standing on the ground and listening to the Dharma. He fails to say that where the flame is turning the wheel of Dharma, the flame simultaneously is turning the wheel of Dharma. The Buddhas of the three times listening to the Dharma is the Dharma state of the Buddhas. It is not influenced by others. Do not see the flame as Dharma. Do not see the flame as Buddha, and do not see the flame as flame. Truly, we should not disregard the words of disciple or master. How could it be sufficient only to have expressed that a red beard is a foreigner? It is also the fact that a foreigner's beard is red. Although Gensar's words are like this, present in them is something which we should esteem as the power of learning in practice. That is to say, we should learn in practice the essence and forms that have been authentically transmitted by the Buddhas and the patriarchs, and which are not connected with essence and forms in the limited Mahayana and Hinayana thinking of sutra teachers and commentary teachers. What Gensar describes is the Buddhas of the three times listening to the Dharma, which is beyond the essence and forms of Mahayana and Hinayana Buddhists. They know only that Buddhas have, when it is accommodated by opportunities and circumstances, the preaching of Dharma. They do not know that the Buddhas are listening to the Dharma. They do not assert that the Buddhas are training, and they do not assert that the Buddhas are realizing the state of Buddha. Now, in Gensar's expression, he has already asserted that the Buddhas of the three times are standing on the ground and listening to the Dharma. And this contains the essence and the form of the Buddhas listening to the Dharma. Do not see being able to preach as necessarily superior, and do not say that those who are able to listen to this Dharma are inferior. If those who preach are venerable, those who listen are also venerable. Shakyamuni Buddha said, "If they preach this sutra, at once they will see me. But to preach it to even a single person, that indeed will be hard." So to be able to preach the Dharma is to meet Shakyamuni Buddha, for the me who at once they will meet is Shakyamuni Buddha. He also said, "After my extinction, to listen to and to accept this sutra and to inquire into its meaning, that indeed will be hard." Remember, listening and acceptance also equally are hard. There is no superiority or inferiority. Even though those who are standing on the ground to listen are the Buddhas, the supremely venerable, they should be standing on the ground to listen to the Dharma. Those who are standing on the ground to listen to the Dharma are the Buddhas of the three times, and so those Buddhas are in the realized state. We do not talk of listening to the Dharma as a causal process. They are already the Buddhas of the three times, and so we should remember that the Buddhas of the three times, standing on the ground to listen to the flame preach Dharma, are Buddhas. Although we cannot trace the whole truth of the teaching and the conventions, when we endeavour to trace them, the state is arrow tips having collided. Flame invariably preaches the Dharma for the Buddhas of the three times, and in the state of red mind, moment by moment, flowers bloom on iron trees and the world is fragrant. In brief, while flame remains standing on the ground to listen to the preaching of the Dharma, ultimately, what is realized? The answer may be wisdom surpassing the master of wisdom, equaling the master. Further, by researching deep beyond the threshold of master and disciple, flame becomes the Buddhas of the three times. Engo says that Seppo's deserving to be called the White Baron does not prevent the Black Baroness from also being present, and that their reciprocal throwing themselves into the moment is gods appearing and demons vanishing. Now, although Seppo can manifest himself in the same situation as Gensar, there may be in Gensar a way in which he does not enter the same situation as Seppo. At the same time, is flame, the Buddhas are Buddhas, flame? The mind of reciprocation between black and white appears and vanishes in the gods and demons of Gensar, but the sounds and forms of Seppo never remain in the area of black and white. And while this is so, we should recognize that in Gensar there is a fitness of verbal expression and there is unfitness of verbal expression. Whereas in Seppo there is taking up with verbal expression and there is leaving be with verbal expression. Now, Engo, in addition, has an expression which is not the same as Gensar and not the same as Seppo, namely that blazing flame covering the cosmos is Buddha preaching Dharma, and that the cosmos in blazing flame is Dharma preaching Buddha. This expression really is brightness to students of later ages. Even if we are blind to blazing flame because we are covered by the cosmos, I have that condition and the other has this condition. Places covered by the cosmos are already blazing flame. What is the use of hating this and relying on that? We should be glad that this skin bag, although its place of birth is distantly removed from the sacred quarter and the present in which it is living is distantly removed from the sacred time, has still been able to hear the guiding teaching of the cosmos. That Buddha preaches Dharma we had heard, but with regard to the fact that Dharma preaches Buddha, how deeply enmeshed were we in ignorance. In summary, the The Buddhas of the three times are preached in the three times by the Dharma, and the Dharma of the three times is preached in the three times by Buddha. There solely exists the cosmos, which, ahead of the wind, cuts away nests of arrowroot and wisteria. A single word has conspicuously tested and defeated Vimalakirti and others besides Vimalakirti too. In sum, Dharma preaches Buddha, Dharma practices Buddha, and Dharma experiences Buddha. Buddha preaches Dharma, Buddha practices Buddha, and Buddha becomes Buddha. States like this are all the dignified behaviour of acting Buddha. Over the cosmos and over the earth, over the past and over the present, those who have attained it do not trivialize it, and those who have clarified it do not debase it. Shōbōgenzō Gyobutsu-Yuigi. Written at Kannon Dori Kosho Horinji Temple in the last 10 days of the 10th month in the 2nd year of Ninji, 1241, Shramana Dōgen. Thanks for listening. We have a nice view out here. There's the view.